Uh, everybody, so many people come to the Institute because of the out-of-body experience. That was what Bob Monroe's books were about. That was what got people really excited. But it's very important to understand that that's one slice of a very, very big pie. And so when people come here, they're often very surprised to find out that there is so much else to explore other than the out-of-body. Some people, Bob used to say about 15% of the people who come through the program might have an out-of-body experience while they are here. That was not my case. I did have some things that if I was to tell you about them, that you would think that they were out of body, but in my mind they were really not. They, at least not in the classical sense. But I began to find out that these other worlds that opened up were so engrossing and so stunning that it was almost more than I could take in. I had, for instance, an experience of finding myself moving along in this other dimension. And I say moving, was I in my body or out of my body? I don't really know, and it wasn't significant to me at the time. But I found myself moving along, and off to my left, all of a sudden, there were these beings of light, and they were gathered around in a circle. And I almost went right by them. You know, it was kind of like, well, you know, that's something I should, you don't see that every day. So I thought I'd go over and investigate. And so I peeked over the shoulder of one of these light people, and I looked down, and there was some guy down there that had obviously just crossed over from being dead, from going through the process, and now was on the other side of something. I didn't even know where I was. The closer I looked, though, the more I realized that that person that was down there was my father. Now, my father had died about 7 years before that of Alzheimer's disease, and he had gone through a process of gradual degradation. He was a brilliant guy, and it was really tough to watch him lose so much of his essence, and to the point where he didn't even recognize us anymore for the most part. I was with him the night that he died. And I whispered to him the night that he was clearly passing away. I said to him, "Dad, when you get to the other side, will you come back and tell me what it's like?" And it was just one of those moments of a little bit of clarity, and he looked at me and he nodded. And so I never would have dreamed that I might actually be in a position to be welcoming him over to the other side. But yet here I was looking at him, and I instinctively picked him up in my arms, and I started carrying him, and I was telling him, telling him that, "Dad, now you've passed over, and that your family's going to come and get you," and it just seemed so natural. And again, I never would have dreamed that any of this would be possible. I couldn't have made it up if I'd tried. And after a while, the beings of light came, and they took him away from me, and they said his family is coming, and he's going to be all right, and we can care for him now. And I came out of that experience so. There aren't words to talk about something like that, because if someone, you try to tell somebody about that, they weren't there, and it's just words. But to me, it was so profound in so many ways, because it wrapped up so much emotion that I had around his Alzheimer's and seeing him pass, and it opened up the possibility that maybe the range of experience in the physical world is not so separate from the world that beyond, and that maybe we have capacities of moving between those two worlds in ways that unfortunately we've maybe knew at one time, but we've lost the capacity to do that. So that was just one of many experiences that happened to me when I was in my gateway. And of course, you go through something like that and you're hooked. And I came back for a few more programs, and then of course when the opportunity came that I could become a trainer here, I jumped at the chance.